first calling Wookie. I mean,
Nanu.
no. Hello.
How you doing, Kevin? What's been happening?
I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, just kind of hanging out here. You know, I was watching an old movie. Do you remember Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yes, I saw that when I was a kid at the drive-in. That was epic.
Yeah, I really like that movie. You know, Jessica Rabbit. You know.
Oh, I remember Jessica Rabbit.
Oh yeah. Who can forget Jessica?
Yeah. Oh, I remember Jessica Rabbit. Yeah. I'm getting distracted here. Sorry, go on.
I think that's the first cartoon I ever fell in love with.
Yes. Jessica Rabbit, I just loved her character. She had like mountains of, personality, Amazing. Anyway, yeah, go on.
She had huge tracts of land.
Any Monty Python quote makes everything epic. Yeah.
I was Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and the other part I really liked about how they were all scared of the dip. Remember the dip?
Oh, it was like acetone or something, and it would like leach their ink off or something and kill them. It was the only way you could kill them. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So it was something. It was like the dip. I thought that was pretty funny. But the reason I brought up the dip was because it actually reminds me of a Pon-tee encounter that somebody told me about.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hit me with it. Go on.
Yeah. So we're just going to call this one the dip.
The dip.
Please.
Who got dipped?
Who got dipped?
Yes.
Reverend Polk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. So tell me about this dip.
Sure. So basically, I'm not going to give away the story because I actually got to interview John myself, and then we story where he told me the whole story about how he got dipped by the Pon-tee.
Right. So we're talking about like that. It's like an antimicrobial cleaning nutrient bath sort of thing. Oh, okay. I know a lot of people that could do with that.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So what happened? How did it happen?
Well, this is basically what he said. And I phoned him up one day. And then this is...
Hello, everyone. My name is Reverend John Polk. I'm an international metaphysical minister out of the University of Sedona. I'm a Reiki master instructor, master tour guide, experiencer, and I own a UFO sighting tour company as well here in the beautiful Red Rocks of Sedona, Arizona. But prior to moving here to Sedona, where I did entertainment for 20 years before I moved here, and I used to be very active on Twitter, and I had friended at Sandia Wisdom with Sue Walker and Otter, and we went back and forth, and I started to like and retweet her stuff she put out there. And sometimes a lot of things she said were kind of not easy to believe, but I dug into my soul and meditated on it, and I honestly believe that she was not making any of it up. And then experiencers like you and myself who come in contact with a Pon-tee know that it's very real. It is totally real, and there's people all around the world that will talk about it now. And so I used to have this spiritual conquest online to do shows, and I did a ton of shows with Sue and yourself and Otter focused on the Pon-tee, and we would honor call-ins all the time from all over the country and all over the world. Every time we do another show, we get new people from different parts of the world that we didn't even know about. So this is a worldwide phenomenon. And so one day something tells Sue to tell me, hey, we need to talk on the phone. So we have a phone conversation. We probably talked for an hour and a half, like that. And she said that the Pon-tee asked her to communicate with me and open a dialogue. And we did. And we've been friends ever since and done a bunch of shows together. So that very night that we first communicate over the phone, something tells me to go outside. And this was before I had night vision goggles. And it's dark and I'm looking up in the sky and I'm looking for something. And I thought I saw something. And it was around 10 o'clock at night. I'll never forget. And I blacked out, basically. And then the next thing I know, it was 3 something in the morning. I'm in my bathtub. The water is still running. The water is cold and the drain was not plugged. So whatever happened to me, I was placed in my bathtub. I look on the floor next to me. I'm naked in the bathtub. My clothes are on the floor and the water's freezing cold. And I'm tripping out. What the heck just is going on? The water hit my ears, and then that's when I woke up. So how long did it take to fill the tub with cold water before I even woke up? And so I look around the house. The air conditioner was on. The dishes were done. The house was locked. And the last thing I remember was being on my back patio looking at something in the sky. So I call Sue the next day, and I'm like, what just happened to me? She's like, oh, that's radar. I'm like, what do you mean radar? Well, he's one of the Pon-tee, and he's very friendly and loving and benevolent, but he just wanted to visit you and check you out. And I'm like, well, why did I end up in the bathtub? And she said, it's because we have bacteria, viruses, pathogens, etc., that can make the Pon-tee sick, and vice versa. They have lack of antibodies to ward against the infectious things that can affect us. So they did a nutrient bath on me so that I could not get them sick. And that's why I ended up in my tub, to cleanse me of whatever they put on me to disinfect my Homo sapien self. And that's how I opened the dialogue and met Sue. And we both knew it had everything to do with that conversation. And the Pon-tee told her to communicate with me, to open that dialogue over the phone, to have an actual physical conversation instead of just doing it, direct messaging through social media. And so after that happened, I've been talking about it ever since. And this happened, I believe, back in 2016. And very interesting, Kevin, that last night I started sending and praying and meditating to them because I got your message on Messenger about doing the show again. And I didn't get it till late because I worked all day yesterday. And I'm laying in bed and I could not sleep at all. And I'm just laying there one of those nights, and you ever felt something like mashed down on the mattress, like it was an animal or something was on your bed, and you could feel the mattress go down a little bit because there was some kind of physical weight on your bed? I swear on my life, it happened multiple times. And I'm thinking, that's the Pon-tee, it's something. And I couldn't see anything. I was looking for something, but I sensed something was there, but I didn't see anything. So as they are, trans-dimensional beings, as they are, they don't necessarily need to fly from Zeta Reticuli II, which is where they're from a binary system, which means 2 suns. They can morph in between dimensions. They don't have to hop in a spacecraft unless they want to. So anyway, that was a brief part of my interaction with the Pon-tee, but the most important part of the story was the bathtub experience, which I will tell, and I'll stick to my guns about it the rest of my life. And I know you'll stick to your guns about your stories the rest of your life too. When they want to interact with you, they make it abundantly obvious. And it's all out of love. It's often easy to misinterpret, but they're just curious about us, and they're here to help us. And they're here to help us to love each other more than we already do. So they're here with just love and benevolence, and they're here to spread that kind of consciousness around the globe. So Kevin Estrella, Pyramids on Mars, thank you for having me on your show. And I can't wait to see the animation that you connect to this also.
Thanks for sharing your story. We're so happy that you came on. Oh man, it's a Scooby-Doo thing, man.
Oh, geez, it spins me out every time, man.
So that was the dip story. Pretty cool, eh?
That's amazing. Wow. Okay. So, like, I suppose you'd wake up feeling clean, I guess.
I guess. Well, he sure felt he woke up with feeling quite wet and soggy. That's for sure.
It'd be a hard explanation for your wife. It'd be like, sorry about the sheets. I guess it was a hot night. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. You know what? Like after, like, because I knew that John Polk, he got dipped, and my first encounter with the Pon-tee the same thing happened to me.
No shit. All right. So the same thing happened.
Yeah, it did, but it was a bit different. I didn't wake up in a tub. What happened to me was Sue messaged me one day and she said, "You're on the schedule for visitation. You will know something." Yep. You'll know something. You'll know that you've been visited if something is out of place. And so at night, and I had an apartment that was a loft. It was 14-foot ceilings, and my bed was above my kitchen. And I remember waking up. It was late at night, and I wake up, and I felt like there was a presence in my apartment. And I was looking down into my living room, and I was wondering, "There's somebody down there." But then it was pretty quiet, and then I just decided to go back to sleep. And then, for being awoken to the feeling of warm liquid draining out of my left ear. And it was, I had gone swimming and there was warm liquid that had been there for a long time. And it startled me, and I go, like that. And I'm like rubbing my ear, like, man, that's really irritating. And so I wake up in the morning, and then I just, went to work, came home. And then I'm walking over to my computer, and I happen to look on my right-hand side, and I got this wooden shelf, and I got this little wooden statue of this guitar player, and he's facing the wall. And I'm like, what the heck? Why is my statue facing the wall? Was I drinking last night and dropped him and put him on the shelf wrong? No, I wasn't drinking last night. I was like, then all of a sudden I went, oh wow, I just realized what that was.
Wow. Subtle, but obvious.
So I'm starting to think about what happened, and then I started thinking about that, what happened with my ear, and then I went to go check on my pillow. And
did you find something?
I did, yeah. There was a red stain where my ear was.
Oh, not dried blood, but was different, right? Because that goes kind of brown, really. That's not red.
It was, yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
So the stuff is red. Interesting. That's crazy.
And then what had happened was something really strange started to take place over the next several days. My body was exfoliating all kinds of stuff, and I'd go to the washroom and it would smell like ammonia, and my pee smelled like ammonia and heavy metals and stuff like that. And I didn't know what it was like, really like, oh my God, this is awful. What the heck is going? And my body was doing some exfoliating stuff, and my ears were sore for about a whole week. But I also felt like my consciousness was changing, like my brain felt like it was changing. It was after it was like exactly 7 days afterwards when all of a sudden my consciousness completely cleared, changed. Like I was able to access part of my mind that I had never been able to access before. And it was,
wow.
I had never felt like this in my entire life. It was amazing. It was like I didn't realize how much poisons and and heavy metals and chemicals that are in our food and water that really turn us into literal zombies because they all accumulate in our brains and really clog things up. And what that's actually cleared all this stuff, and amazing. And then they actually repeated the process about a month later, the exact same thing, where once again I had a new stain on my pillow, and the whole process again. And then after about 5 days or so, then my head really was clear, and I was able to access parts of my brain. I could focus on an area of my brain and put concentration there. I could focus on any part of my brain and put a concentration of energy in those spots. So what the Pon-tee had done was they had given me a great gift of when they dipped me and helped me out of all these chemicals and stuff that were in my body. And it was probably one of the greatest gifts that I think I've ever gotten.
Wow. And it's stayed that way since?
It's stayed that way since. Yeah. Yes, it's stayed that way.
I could do with some of that stuff myself, I think, especially at the moment. It's a shame we can't package it. We could sell it as a new health spa package.
Pretty advanced.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Wow. So it's an ammonia and a metallic smell. Boy, that's extraordinary.
Yeah, my body was exfoliating all kinds of stuff, and it cleared. So I really, I thank the Pon-tee. I've thanked them so many times for that great gift of, giving me whatever they did, that dip to help me. It really did. And what it did was help with my telepathic projection. And they said that ever since they did that procedure to me, they can really hear me telepathically very clear.
Oh, that's the truth. That's the truth, yes. I hear you very loud.
Yeah. Especially on I play my guitar at a telepathic level, and that's what they've been working at and training me. So they helped basically make me a really good projector. I'm still really working on my telepathy. I have a lot of work with that, but my projection is much thanks to them.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. I wonder how many other people out there have this experience of being dipped. I wonder, maybe if we could get everybody who's watching, if they know, if they know somebody who's been dipped, or if they've had it to themselves, they need to let us know.
Yeah. I do know that there's a few of the long-term Twitter followers of Sandia who have had the same experience, and it happened around the same time as me too.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's amazing stuff. Pink dip.
Yeah, something like that.
Got it. I hope it tastes good, because sounds like it gets in everywhere.
It sounds like it does. Yeah. Yeah.
Everywhere.
Next, if I know any more stories, any more Pon-tee stories, I'll be sure to tell you about them.
Man, I'd love to hear them. That'd be great. Thank you so much, Kevin. That's a really good one.
No problem, man. All right. Well, until the next time, peace out.
Peace out.